Beth Justice with SIPA, and with me today is Brandon Williams with Eagle County. Brandon, I have 3 tech-related questions and 1 bonus question. The first question is, what technology challenge are you working on?
The biggest one that we've got right now is, I think like everybody else, we're struggling to figure out what AI is and how we can use it in our workflows and where exactly it fits. And, there's the obvious things with AI, like governance and workflows and the tool sets and security. But I think what we're finding out is that we're kind of caught in a chicken or egg kind of tussle. And really that's around, in order to understand where AI is best going to be used, we have to have our users familiar enough with AI to know their programs, their workflows, and then how the AI might contribute to that. So I think kind of the biggest challenge we've got is really, how do you grow confidence and familiarity with AI tools in a safe and secure way so that we can start to really embed those tools to gain efficiencies and effectiveness in the workflows.
Well, great. Well, how are you solving for this?
Well, we've tried a number of different things. We've failed at a ton of them, but the one that is seeming to resonate the best is we're using NotebookLM. It's one of Google's tools, and we're a Google workshop. So NotebookLM is part of our Google Workspace environment. But I bring it up not just because of the fact that we're a Google workshop, but anybody can use NotebookLM. It's a free tool. And here's why I think we've at least seen success with it. And it comes down to NotebookLM as kind of a closed source. So it's designed by default to be an AI tool that only uses sources that you add to the system. So different than going to ChatGPT or Gemini.google.com or Claude or any of those, out of the box, Notebook will only use the sources that you've added to it. And so every sentence that it gives, let's say you're using the chat back and forth, every sentence that it gives is directly sourced to an item that you have uploaded and authorized NotebookLM to look at. So in this context, you can take things like websites, you can take things like PDFs, you can take YouTube videos where it has a transcript, docs, sheets, raw data, and you can load those into a notebook, and then it will give you answers or generate outputs only using those sources. And I think from a confidence perspective, that has been a real sweet spot because it's allowed users to get into a safe, secure place. And of course, at being a workspace shop, we can use our own actual data that's not necessarily public facing. But even if you're using the free version, it's worth exploring because you can add your public websites, you can add your Colorado revised statutes, you can upload your documents that are your public, either your published regulations or your published policies, and be able to use public documentation and still kind of get a feel for how the AI looks at your information, how it indexes it, and how it generates responses. So I think from a pure confidence building perspective and understanding how AI works, it's been super, super insightful and a real help.
That's terrific. So what did you actually learn from this experience?
So I think, like a lot of organizations, we looked at AI initially as being more of kind of an offensive tool, where you're talking primarily about content generation. How do you generate something that's a letter going out? How do you, summarize information? How do you generate something that might go on a website for content, or generate emails? Our instinct is how to use it for brainstorming and content generation. I think Notebook taught us an early valuable lesson in that the AI is both offensive and defensive. And when we loaded up things like our websites, for the first time ever, we really had the ability to look across all of our websites and look for inconsistencies, look for out-of-date information, look for stuff that needed to be updated or replaced. In fact, we surfaced one thing early on. We did a search, we found some information, and somebody came back and actually said, hey, I'm not crazy about the fact that my email came up as the point of contact for this particular question that I asked. And it turns out that email was in a press release that we published like 4 or 5 years ago. And so it was in the public domain. It was actually accessible. So I think it gave us some early insights in stuff that we needed to clean up on our website. I think it also gave us, maybe for the first time, the ability to answer the question. We get it all the time from commissioners or others. They say, what are you doing on housing? And, in the past, we'd go out, we'd ask directors, we've asked communications officers, they would generate kind of talking points, what they're doing. We'd have to collate all that. Now we can actually go through our websites, our public facing information, and get a much deeper understanding and footprint of what we're doing regarding housing. Because it's not just in the housing department, it's from economic services, it's from community development, land usage and planning. And so this gave us, kind of the first ever way of looking at things like transportation, early childhood, housing across all of those different sources to get much more comprehensive answers on that. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing your experience. I like the fact that NotebookLM is a platform agnostic. It has a free version, so don't have to be on Google. The output is only using the sources that you put into it, so it feels fairly safe that's what you're using. It can do some cleanup for you when it generates these notebooks, and it sounds like an AI-like tool for something that you could simply spin up and do an internal project with. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's like having your own little private AI, and the free version has a lot of power in it. And then the one that we use actually allows us to take that same information and put it out in slide decks, in audio podcasts, in clickable site or mind maps, as well as reports and infographics and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, definitely worth the time to go in and look at NotebookLM. Crazy cool tool. Yeah.
All right. So our bonus question, what's crazy cool about your area? What should I see, do, or experience if I am in the area of Eagle County?
Yeah, that is a long list. I mean, obviously, right now we're all gearing up for being out on the trails, mountain biking. I mean, world-class mountain biking up here, amazing trails. I would say, though, my personal one, before coming to IT, I'm a history nerd first. And when you're driving into, if you're coming into Eagle, and you're driving from Walcott, you're on I-70 and you're driving into Eagle, you're going to go through this narrow area, and you've probably seen it. It's got the red cliffs, and it kind of comes down, and I-70 goes right down through the valley there. As you're heading west into that little canyon, look up on the right, because there is a wooden structure and wheel, and you'll see some other structures along there. And I didn't know what they were for the longest time, but I got a chance to go out with our team from Open Space and Natural Resources. And it turns out that those are the remnants of an old rock quarry that was using that sandstone that's in there, and producing building materials for the Front Range, like early on, late 1800s, early 1900s. And if you're in Denver, you can actually see some of that work down at the Brown Palace. Those red rocks came from that quarry right outside of Walcott. So really cool little thing off to the side. Yeah.
That's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. And I'll be definitely looking for that. I can't say that I have, and I've been that way a ton of times.
Right on. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Brandon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Later.
On SIPA's next podcast, Ben Edelin and I talk about emergency management. Ben covered some really great information that I look forward to sharing with you all.
But the trick there is that you have to build those relationships before you have an emergency.